this podcast where you make a little sample pack at different points. Producers go ham. Welcome to the podcast. All right.
I just hit record as you did that.
Yeah. So anyway, it's a new thing. It's going to be
amazing. Yeah, dude. That's Tom. In case anybody didn't know, Tom the chicken. If you want to hold him up so people can see him. Yeah, he's pretty cool.
It's your chance for prime samples. Uninterrupted, fully studio recorded studio mic samples for included.
Yeah, put that before it drop and make millions.
Yes.
It's the next Grammy winning material right there. Yeah, you actually sampled him at the Denver Ableton user group 5 months ago or something. It's
that
been a
long?
while.
Oof. Yeah, I remember I had a kind of a structure, but then you brought this and I was like, well, that's going to be the way I end this. And I made a little beat out of him quick.
Yeah, you had all these plans and I just destroyed them. I was like, no, we're going to sample this like squeaky rubber chicken.
Yeah, and that's a great lesson I like to teach too, is you can have all these ideas, but just go with what you're given and it's more fun.
It really is. No, I feel like you have a really fun like brand with like your videos of just like sampling random things in your room. Like,
yeah.
What was the name of that track?
The vibration gun.
The vibration gun, yeah.
Dude, I had a lesson recently where he wanted to see that song and I was like, literally all it was that chicken. Like I opened the project in Zoom and it was like the chicken track from the video, and then the rest was like sub and bass or sub and drums.
Hey, it slapped. It was beautiful. Whatever chain you made for that vibration gun.
Yeah.
It was really nice. Actually, it inspired me. I bought that for my stepdad's birthday recently. I was like, that's a good idea. I should get him a massage gun. He'd be perfect.
I knew I should have got paid for that. I should have done like Theremin, like exclusive or whatever.
Yeah.
And then be like, just your advertisement.
You probably could have gotten one for free. You just like hit up. I mean, that's what I do sometimes. People will name drop like products and I'll be like, I should hit them up.
Might as well try.
Yeah, why not? You should just see what things you could sample. Maybe get a bunch of free stuff.
Yeah. All right. I'm going to start sampling Lamborghinis and
sample a Tesla.
Hey, I sampled this house. Can I have it?
That'd be a great idea.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let me know if that works. That sounds awesome. Well, thanks for joining the podcast.
Yeah.
It's good to see you again. Yeah, like I said, it's been a hot minute. I've been following you for like a year-ish. My friend Connor, Denver Chipco, they shared your stuff with me.
Yeah.
You're really deep in like the sound design game, and like you do some really cool stuff with like obviously like, more experimental bass music. A lot of the stuff you sample, like I feel like you've got a pretty good grasp on like manipulating sound, and like you showed a bunch of different like tips and tricks and hacks at the user group, like around using audio clips. You don't even use a limiter, I don't think, anymore. You're just like throwing stuff and redlining through Ableton and exporting.
Yeah.
Which like I think a lot of people are like, oh, that's bad. Like I learned things that I'm unlearning now as a producer that people are like, you can't do that. That's not okay. And it's like, nah, let's break the rules. And I feel like you're a classic example of somebody who does that.
Yeah. I think I've just seen people, I think like Subtronics is one of them. Mr. Bill talked about it, where just like, I don't know the exact thing behind it, but like Ableton put a soft clipper in the master. I don't know if it was 10 or 11 or if they got better from 10 to 11 or if it was there 9 or whatever. But yeah, you can seem to like push it in like a weird way. It's cleaner. I've like done A/B tests with like clippers or like limiters and just like going raw into Ableton with like just like a +1 on the utility if it's mixed right.
Yeah.
I was like, damn, seems to slap hard, harder than the rest.
Yeah, there's definitely a built-in limiter.
Yeah.
The output is like the final stage of whenever you export something.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, just hitting that 0 dB.
Just chopping it
loud.
off.
Yeah, you're just chopping those peaks.
I did it with a hip hop song recently and it was a little harder to get it, but you kind of hear the crunch more because it's cleaner, it's vocals, all that stuff versus like overly distorted synths already. It's hard when you're trying to get like clean, like either like pure sine waves type stuff. Like I like to do the deeper wubby stuff and sometimes it's harder to get cleaner and that loud, but I think with like good gain staging, it's possible.
Yeah. Sure. Yeah, totally. I think that's like an art form in itself. It seems like the loudness wars are getting louder.
Yeah, it's getting louder.
Also, did you want one of these? The yerba mates?
Yeah, take that one. You got it.
The peach?
Yeah, I already drank this other one.
This one's way bigger. I don't know if I need this much caffeine. I'm going to drink it anyway.
This is 200 Celsius milligrams.
Yeah.
This is also 200.
Yeah, you should just double fist those.
Let's go 400.
Be tweaking by the end of the episode.
I do have some music to finish, you know?
Yeah, there you go. It's going to be like hard style.
Dude, I just made some fun, like trancey, techno-y stuff just because it's so fun. I found an ARP on like one of these, Moog presets on this synth. I was like, oh yeah, and just write a song around it just for fun.
Amazing. Yeah, what was that new synth we were just talking before I hit record that you mentioned you can do like some really interesting chord stuff with it or whatever that was?
Current. It just came out on a demo from Minimal Audio. It's like Serum on steroids plus Splice plus a granulator and a sampler and the chord thing. So like you can just take like a note and then voicing. It's like thirds, fifths, seventh, ninths, octaves, and then you just assign that as like a chord and like key, and then you can like key map all your pitches and all that stuff to like the key. All your filters, I mean, so everything is just like tight, and there's like it's insane. There's like Splice integration, but it's not Splice. It's like something different. It's like, oh, I want a cool choir for my granulator. You go into the Splice thing in the app. It's not Splice, but it's like a whatever. Yeah. You search choir, and then it shows up, and you can just load it in the granulator or the sampler. Same thing for presets and for wavetables, and it's like user. Like it was so cool, easy for me to make like my own user patch, put a cool picture in there, call it like Mport sounds, and now I'm building my own sample pack, and it like looks like it's professional from the get go. I don't know. That's
really dope.
It's a cool synth.
Is there a decent library of sounds in there?
Yeah, there's a lot of presets, and they're all like very unique. I would say it's like not going to be like Open Serum, and all the presets are like, you know, wow. Yeah. These are like crazy, like ethereal, or can be, or Reese.
Love a good Reese.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's crazy. I just watched some tutorials on it and then been messing around with it. It's like free for 30 days, so go ham.
Yeah, dude, I love free. It's my favorite price.
Yeah. Free 99.
Do you mind real quick just like pointing the mic straight at your mouth? Because I feel like it's picking up more room noise in my ears. That's beautiful.
There we go.
That's perfect. Nailed it.
Oh, right in the mouth.
Yeah, man. So for all of the listeners, I'd always like to get to know you like a little bit. Then we can just go ham on nerding out on different Ableton stuff. But
sure, yeah.
But I would love for people to get to know you better. Like, what was your musical background growing up, and then like how did that lead you to using Ableton Live when you found the light?
I found the light. Ableton Light?
Yeah.
No, I got sweet right away, dude.
Yeah. Because you're a professional.
I started off like playing piano like in the 5th grade-ish. I had a piano at my house, and I would just go up and like press play. My dad showed me what like a triad was. And I was like, once I learned if I hit these notes, it sounds cool. So I'd go there. I was like naturally interested in it. And so then they put me on to like piano lessons in like 5th grade through the like school I was at. And then eventually I got like a private teacher and did lessons for like, I don't know, like 10 years, like learning piano, learning the like sheet music, classical stuff. Didn't learn too much theory. But then I kind of got into like a lot of like metal and stuff, and obviously like electronic music in high school, like 2009 and all that. So I'd always watch these like studio, how they made the record, how they're recording. And I was like, I want to do recording stuff. That's sick. I like play piano, but also like as a piano player, I'm like, and liking metal, I'm like, I want to play like drums. Drums are way sick. I like
drums are cool.
The drums and bass, and I love like the, heavier stuff. I was really into Guitar Hero. So I learned everything I know about drumming is the Guitar Hero drums.
Amazing.
I would just rock like Guitar Hero Metallica for like, I don't know, 4 hours a day after school, just like sweating in my basement. Like, okay, I can drum. Because one time my friend was playing the game and I was playing a real drum set, like following along. And I was like, I'm playing this song.
That's awesome.
Because it was pretty accurate. But anyway, long story short, then I was like, I want to go to college, or if I have to go to college or whatever, I want to do it for music. So I went to recording arts, learn how to record music. And in that process, they're like, you have to, mix songs. And I was like, I don't have anyone to record, but I really like electronic music. So maybe I can try and make that. Because I've messed with like FL Studio a little bit. I had like an Ableton demo a little bit in high school, and like in the family PC, made like a drum beat or two. And then I got a computer for a graduation gift from high school, like a MacBook 2012, which I still use to this day to like make DJ sets.
I have the same one. Yeah.
So good. The OG.
This thing's a tank, man.
Yeah. I actually just replaced the motherboard on it because I messed up and
I did the same thing.
Yeah.
It's just a shell now, but like it's an absolute tank.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Oh.
Yeah. And you can upgrade them. Like that's the thing that sucks about the new MacBooks. Mm-hmm. It is what it is. You can't upgrade it.
I think I have like a terabyte solid state and then like some more in storage and stuff, RAM. But anyway, got into Logic Pro. I used Logic Pro for like 2 years in like college and learning how to produce. I would like sit in my dorm and just make music, and then got introduced to Ableton, I think like my second year. It was one of those things where I was like, I don't want to use Ableton. Everyone uses Ableton. And then when I learned when when I dove into it, I was like, oh, this is why everyone uses Ableton. This is so much like, I was pretty fluent in Logic. I was making like decent sounding stuff in school and stuff too. So I was like definitely like mixing, and like I like the mixing board of it. It looks kind of more like this digitally versus Ableton.
Yeah.
And that was another thing, like the audio nerd in me was like, it should be like this from like the schooling or whatever. But then I was like, oh, Ableton's way better for like actually producing and like being creative and like getting ideas out and saving. I've learned years later, but like saving racks and all that. It's just like,
Yeah.
I'm so fast now because I've saved all that time by just using the same things I've made before.
Totally. I mean, you can save stuff in Logic too, but it's a different workflow.
Yeah.
I'm Logic Pro certified, but I never use Logic. Like, and it's still dope. A lot of people.
Yeah, I love it for like personally for like more instrumental stuff because they have really good presets and like stuff like that. Probably really good for mixing too.
It is. Yeah.
Like actually like diving into it. But then through that I was like, oh, I'm gonna make my own music, so I just did that, and then I got an internship doing like lights and audio at a nightclub called Beta Nightclub in Denver. So I worked from
that's not around anymore.
Yeah, it closed in like 2019.
I've heard a lot about it.
Yeah, it was like a legendary club at the time. At one point, it won like Rolling Stone Best Nightclub in America. I don't know how like bought that was or not, but it definitely had a prestigious place in my heart and stuff. But yeah, I worked there. I kind of just got my foot in the door in this industry. One time I was like, cause I was making music, but for school, and just like, I never like DJ'd or anything. I was just running lights though. So kind of learning how to DJ by watching them DJs.
Cool.
And I'd be like, oh, if I'm doing this with the fader, they're doing that. Like, oh, you hit play here. Okay. This is the vibe. Oh, that was a bad transition. That was a good transition. Just like learning through like osmosis, watching like, 10 sets a weekend. Cause it's like all these different DJs every night. So I kind of learned that. And then at one point, this guy's like, you make music? And I was like, yeah. He's like, I want to play one of your songs. I like this song, blah, blah, blah. That I sent him. Played it to like no one on the floor. And it was still just so cool to hear my music in that, on that sound system. Cause it was like Function 1. It sounded good.
Oh, that's a nice sound system. Black Box has that.
Yep. That's why I love playing there. It's so good. And then eventually they're like, you DJ? And I was like, no in my head, but out loud I was like, yeah, I'll learn. So I got booked for a show with a friend of mine that had this old project, made music for, and then like a couple years after that, I decided to like go on my own thing after like getting some nightclub experience and all that, and just wanted to do Mport and kind of made that. And I started in like 2017. So then just slowly going and keep working at it till now.
Nice, man.
I think the 2020 pandemic, like shutdown era was like huge for just me. I was like, at that point I was like, okay, I'm going to like wipe my, like get a new logo, figure out like what the visual side is. Like, I think being funny is funny. So I'm going to go on that kind of route. Cause there's like hints of it. It's all on like Instagram. You can scroll to the bottom and like watch the whole journey. That's why I haven't deleted a lot of it, but it's kind of fun of just like me throwing stuff at the wall, seeing what sticks, you see what sticks, and then just kind of like shifting into this route that is now go-to things on the internet and music and style and stuff.
Yeah. That's kind of a fun like timeline of like, looking back at your oldest stuff. I actually did that the other day. I went to like my Facebook artist page for Philia, and I went back to like 2016, and I was like, I would never make music like that anymore, like, because I'm into something so different. It's kind of fun to like see how you evolve as an artist. Like, it's not right or wrong. It's just like, wow, I've come so far. Like, it's really fun.
Or you like listen to people who are newer into producing, or like, I don't know, we all go through like the same stages, I feel like, or steps when they send you a song and you know exactly where they are in their like journey of learning music production. Cause like, it'll be like a cool idea, but like the kick's just like so loud, or like there's certain things that are just like not, the structure isn't there, but you're like, oh, I remember that. I feel like I have like certain songs where I remember I learned certain things, because every song is just like, you learn at least one thing in every song. When it's, when you're first starting off, it's multiple things. Like, oh, I got sidechain down, so I made this like cool psytrance song that like sidechains to this kick and bass really cool. Like, I don't know. That's like one time I learned about sidechain, as I made like some cool pumping psytrance stuff. Yeah. So yeah, someone will send me a song and be like, oh yeah, just keep going on that. And then like, I remember when I was there with this song and all this stuff. And it's always cool to look back and see the growth, like stylistically and just like skill wise.
Yeah, totally. I wrestled with like taking down some old stuff, and then I just like talked to a friend about it, and they're like, yeah, I mean, it's a time capsule of you. And like, I've listened to a lot of my favorite tracks and the mixes are garbage, but the vibe was there, And so I look back at some of my old stuff, I was like, the mix is garbage, but that was what I was feeling at that point in time. And that's okay. Like, you got to let that be what it is, you know?
A lot of my stuff is like that too, but then opposite I've had, because I was in like mixing school essentially, or like audio school. So it'd have like terrible songs, but they were clean. It was like a weird, and to me, I'm like, well, they sound good, so they are good, but like the song is like nothing. Or it's like 2 bars of this. This was before I DJ'd or knew like structure was as much in songs, or at least dance music. So like 2 bars of this intro, this, that, and it sound clean and like be clean, like punchy enough, but it'd be like make no sense. So listening back now, I'm like, it was a fun ride, I guess.
Yeah, definitely, man. That's cool. Like as far as like finishing tracks, like you've been cranking out a lot of music like over the last, I don't know, year especially. Like, are there any tips that you'd give to other people out there, things you've learned along the way as far as just like continuing to progress and getting stuff out? What have you learned in that process of just constantly finishing and releasing?
I think, recently it's been like, there's like this huge joy of like putting out, because you know when you're like hyped on a song, like usually when you make it and like a week later maybe you hate it and then you like it again
all the time.
But like if you can release it in that time of liking it, it's so much more fun to like promote it. And like I feel like I can make something that's decent enough quickly, especially if like those ads I've been doing, they're really funny. And like have a cool song I sample myself in. But like in that sense, I think it's fun to just put it out, even if it's just like a reel, and then if it hits and you can like go from there. But I love the idea with social media and stuff is like making little things that are just 30 seconds that are cool and you can put out and kind of get feelers and then kind of boost your confidence, or maybe you'll figure out what to need to work on. But I love doing those little songs to help like that don't have any pressure. Like I've done like 4 of them now where like I do like an ad for a show and I record myself and I end up just like using the video edit audio to like sample, I guess. Like if I'm saying a bunch of words, I'll just put that in the song. There's no pressure to it, so like you get really fast at getting ideas down, and then like okay, put it out and see how it goes. And I feel like it kind of does this nice circular, gives you good feedback, right? I feel like so when it comes to like real songs and like full songs, it's just like you can apply that, and then you get more confident in what you're doing and like confident in your decisions, I guess.
Yeah.
So if I know if I can make a silly little wobble bass really quick that'll work well in an ad, if I'm stuck on a song, I got all this part. I'm like, oh, what if I just did that silly little wobble bass thing and maybe like polish it up a little bit and kind of get it done fast. Because another thing I will say is just like the whole process of writing and finishing is these things called beat offs. I do with my friends.
You guys must be very close.
Yeah, we're pretty close. We each have a computer. You got to bring headphones. You don't want anyone listening.
No, definitely not.
I do it with my friend Colin the most, and of Cairo Banco, and because we share a studio space, and so
cool.
If we want to start a song together or separately, it doesn't even matter. A fun thing is like taking a group of samples or sounds or having some kind of restrictions within a time limit to make something that you have to share.
Yeah.
Usually it's like a build and a drop or whatever you come up with. But that putting restrictions on it is probably my biggest advice, I guess. If I were to say advice, is say give yourself restrictions, whether it's time or like it's only these samples, no synths, or it's only you have to make a whole song out of this synth. Or for me, sometimes I do like those videos. I have to make a whole song out of this yerba can, kick, snare, everything, and that's like such a fun creative challenge that gives you like tools you can use later on. But mainly just getting workflow and getting ideas out, because you can stand forever to get like the right kick, but you can put the kick in later. You know, I've replaced the kick probably like 5 times this year before like a couple, like before I upload it to DistroKid or whatever. Like I'll replace the kick like couple days before that, like this song sucks, it needs something, and I'll just replace it with a kick or a snare or something, like now it's good. Like those little things sometimes, but they can be at the end. You don't have to start with that.
I like what you're saying with the whole restriction thing, or even putting a timeline on yourself, because it's like that analysis paralysis thing that I think like catches a lot of producers. Because like if you just have unlimited options and you've got all the time in the world, you may not finish anything, or you may not like actually get results, or like force yourself to put in the work and just call it done.
Especially playing with like newer synths, or if you're newer to Ableton, like there's so much to play with. So you're just like, oh, like an hour later, and you got like, and you're like, oh, cool, I did it, and then like your energy's gone.
Yeah, you spent 6 hours on a wobble.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, dude, which I think we've all done at some point.
100%.
For sure.
I get lost in the synth still, so.
Lost in the synth sauce.
Ooh, synth sauce.
Yeah. Well, we have Ableton open, and we could talk about that.
Oh, do I have control?
You actually do. Yeah, I haven't really tried a whole lot of this on the podcast, but like...
This mouse, though.
Yeah, that mouse, it looks like a Hershey Kiss. It's like a shark fin. It's supposed to be ergonomically good for your wrist, which is why I have it.
Yeah, my wrist has been really, honestly, messed up.
Bro, you got to get a good mouse. That makes all the difference. Any producers out there who have carpal tunnel or wrist pain, I'm telling you, CBD and a good mouse.
Because I just love that Apple mouse because it's like a trackpad.
Yeah.
So if they made something like that in this shape,
Yeah, that thing's got like a lot of buttons on it.
yeah, I'm sure you can like map stuff.
It's from the future. You don't even have to click around. But I was going to ask you, like, you talked about a couple things at the Denver user group. You talked about like audio clips, and you do a ton with audio. So I was going to ask you, like, you don't even have to show us anything on the screen, but like, what are some of your kind of go-to things? And I'm sure it changes constantly, but like, what are some of your things that you typically do when you're manipulating audio or like messing with it?
Main thing I've been doing recently is trying to kind of make it a little bit more signature consistent is like the Beats warp mode on things you would never put Beats warp mode on.
Okay, like what?
Like I did a remix. It was like an Ecstasy of Soul, like Zed's Dead and Grizz song. And
oh yeah, that was sick.
Yeah, so that whole drop is literally what I added was kick, snare, or pretty much drums and bass, and then the rest of it is the original song on Beats warp mode.
Really?
Yeah.
Amazing. It's just like you just cut off the low end.
Yeah, so I cut off the low end, I stretch it like 4 or 5 times long, put it on like 16th, like double forward, beats mode, whatever, and like drag back the arrow and like different clips because you can assign different things to different clips, like beat warp modifications. So just messing around with that, and I got some crazy awesome like lead sounds because there's just really cool sounds in that original thing, and I was too lazy to try to like stem it out with AI or any of that stuff. So I just was like, what if I just use the original, because I'm using the original already for like the intro.
Yeah.
And I just like pitched it up 12 and stretched it times 5 and then put it on some cool sounds. And I was like, wow. And I've been doing that a lot more with like vocals, or if I'm working on a song, I'll bounce it and then do that same technique to my bounce and then put it back in the song. Kind of like sampling your own master in a way.
Yeah, that's cool. I like that. Yeah, I assume you do a lot of resampling.
Mm-hmm.
Have you ever played with BIP, like bounce in place Max for Live device?
No.
That's like a dream for resampling. It's like saved me a lot of time because you can key map it. I key map it to like a certain key. Typically resampling, it defaults to the master. Mm-hmm. So it's actually listening and resampling into a new audio track, whatever the master is hearing, right? So typically if you have a limiter or clip or whatever, it's going through all of your master processing.
Yeah.
So BIP, you can control it and say it automatically will create a new audio track, and it'll do all the routing for that new track directly from the track that's selected, and on the timeline start resampling it from that place.
Oh wow.
As pre or post effects.
I always get this weird with not weird, but
it looks like this.
Well, Max for Live stuff, is it like free or do you buy stuff on Max for Live?
Both.
Okay.
Yeah, if you go to maxforlive.com, there's like a billion free Max for Live stuff that people just put out because they have like good hearts and they're generous. But then there's like, Gumroad, people will make you pay. This one I think is like $5 or something.
Okay.
But it's really sick. Like I just like map it to like capital R or something. And then if I just click here and then I just hit that, it'll pop out a new audio track and it automatically routes it. That's a terrible sound. But you get the idea.
That's a lot of cursing.
Yeah, there's a pretty vulgar sample. Yeah.
You can make it cool. Just pitch it down on warp mode.
Put on beats mode and just make it bounce, right?
Like that sound, I'd put like a chorus with like what's it called? The new pitch thing. Yeah.
Like a little bouncy thing.
Yeah, it's like, well, when you go like down to here, this mouse is so delayed.
Yeah, sorry about that.
Oh, it's fine. It's just a fun challenge, really.
I'm just testing your skills right now.
I don't think the play button works. Just like my last show, the play button didn't work.
You can hit spacebar, right?
It's not working. But
spacebar doesn't work. Oh, I'm so sorry. I had to stop.
Oh, yeah, you got the spacebar. I got the mouse. Ready? Hit space. Hit space.
This is teamwork. I hit space.
That's cool. Boom.
That's really dope. Yeah, I think we just made a banger.
Yeah, exactly.
That was perfect.
And then you just put like the chorus of pitch wobble, and then you put auto filter, and then you put it through saturator. And you got a cool little whistle sound.
Little whistle.
Bleep. I was actually walking in here, and the door scraping against the metal was a cool sound.
Yeah.
That's how my brain works. I'm like, oh.
Yeah, that's a lot of producers. Like when I was in the subway in New York, I was like, oh, that's a cool sample. And I'll hear like a pigeon and I'll like try to sample it. I'm like chasing pigeons through the street, almost getting hit by cars.
Yes.
Amazing. Yeah. So like, yeah, you'll definitely play with like the envelope and the clips and doing some like messing with the pitch and the warp modes. Have you noticed like the warp mode, like the default warp mode in Live 11? Are you on 11?
Uh-huh.
Like the newest one, they really updated it. So if you drag in anything that wasn't recorded to like a click, it does an amazing job of like timing it up pretty well.
Oh, really?
Yeah, when you just turn on warp or just drag any sample in there, it stretches it really well to like the beat and the grid. It's really impressive.
Yeah, I've definitely I've always had that mode on where like auto does it, and usually it's pretty accurate. I think the whole time I've used live, but I haven't really messed with stuff that's like out of time too much. So I'd definitely love to see that. That's cool.
Yeah, like because sometimes like even in Splice, like if you grab a sample of like a drum beat or whatever, sometimes it doesn't warp it. Like right, it gets weird. But lately, it's done an awesome job of just locking that in.
Yes, I love that. The warping, it's like that and like the sifting through audio that not a lot of people know that I've worked with, and it's such a good trick. It's like the Option Command Shift, and then you can like drag through your audio clip in this view.
Yeah, exactly. So you can just like click here, and then you can move. It has to be warped, but you can pull it back and forth to the left and the right.
Yeah, so a lot of times, like with the chicken, that's what I did. I made up the rhythm that I wanted, like short, long, short, long, and then I'll like go through and scrub and randomly until it's cool.
That's awesome. Yeah, it was a great sample. Tom, he sounded really good.
And you got to laugh every time, so that's good.
Yeah, man, I think music should be fun, and you like embody that super well in like your videos and stuff. And like I heard a really good quote from Jimmy Carr. It was on the Joe Rogan podcast, actually. He said like laughter is older than language.
Oh, yeah.
And I was like, that's really kind of probably true. Like people were probably laughing before they were even really like cavemen speaking. Yeah, like
because it is such a weird involuntary thing. You can't really describe what makes it. It's usually like subverted expectations a little bit. Like when I hear a good drop at a show, I'll just laugh. I want to be like, sometimes I'm like, oh, but a lot of times I'm like, wow, that's great. Like if it just like completely blows your mind, I usually just laugh.
Totally, man. Yeah, absolutely.
Like I got to go to Lost Lands this year, and like that first day I miraculously got on main stage to play.
I saw that. Congrats. That's really cool.
Thanks, dude. Yeah, it was just like a big whole story of how we even got there. It was crazy. But when I was up there, I was like filming, and you can hear in the video, I'm just literally giggling like, this is so crazy. It's like subverting my expectation.
So you didn't go there to actually do a set. You went there just like as an attendee, and then...
Yeah, they do like a big back-to-back on that first night. And so then got back there, and then because my friend Shank Aaron was playing, and I went to see him and went with him. He actually had the extra plane ticket last minute, or else I wouldn't have been able to go. And then my other friend, Tom Brondo, so both Toms, had the extra pass. So them together got me to Lost Lands.
Right, shout out Tom.
Yeah, shout out the Toms. And then I knew from working that club, I knew one of the guys backstage who worked closely with the Excision team, and he's like, "You want to go up there and play?"
Nice.
And I was like, yeah. So shout out
Sure.
Patrick. I'm like him. And so I stood up there for like 40 minutes, just like awkwardly. And then I finally like plugged in my USB, and I was like, it's time to play level 9. There's no other choice.
That's such a great track.
Yeah.
I love
honestly,
the video.
it just like slapped though so hard. I've never heard my music like that, but on that system,
oh man,
all the DJs freaked out. That was like the best. Like obviously the crowd blew up a little, like was like, oh, but like all the like artists around me who don't know who I am, just like literally like, oh,
it's amazing.
Because it was so different than what everyone else was playing. Like, tear out dubstep or heavier stuff, and I was like, I'm just gonna bring it to woo woo woo.
Yeah, get the wubs.
Yeah, like
that's
Yoki,
a nice mix up.
Yoki was like, yeah. I was like, yeah.
Yeah, dude, that's the best feeling when you're like on a good sound system and you drop a track that you haven't heard on a system like that, and it still slaps, and you're like, ugh.
I got to play on Voids this summer and sing every song in my set. I was just like, oh yes, and of course the Black Box.
Yeah, congratulations, dude. That's well deserved because you grind and you work really hard for sure. I can just see all the stuff you're putting out. We have another third guest with us right now. Her name is Bella. I don't know if you could see her on the screen, but she's under the table right now, and I think she wants to go out. Do you want to open the door for her? Hi, Bella. Thanks for being on the podcast, girl.
Bella.
Bye, Bella. Love you.
Come on.
Yeah, it's like 100 degrees in here compared to out there. We'll just pretend that we're actually using this board right now. It's a nice prop.
Yeah, having a fake console is pretty cool.
Yeah, it's really great. Yes,
Wish
it's
it
not
worked.
real.
Yeah, none of this is green screen you got in here is really.
Yeah.
On the cameras, it looks very real. But
this acoustic treatment looks so incredibly real, doesn't it? It's almost like I could touch it.
yeah, the Photoshop AI is doing great.
Yeah. I worked really hard on staging this room, make it look real. Yeah, I don't think I said anything, but shout out KMG Studios for just opening up this space for you and all these other guests that are on the podcast. Really nice of them just to let us crash their pad. It's really cool.
You got to do a green tablecloth, and then you can have us floating.
That's a good idea. Hey, do you want to edit that for all my podcasts?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. I'll just send you the footage.
Keyframe it.
Sounds great. Yeah. I mean, what do you use for video editing, and how long have you been doing that?
You're going to love this. Ableton.
Really?
Yeah.
You edit all of your video in Ableton?
Pretty much the chunk of it, like the hard part. People are like, that must take forever. I'm like, no, dude, I take an iPhone video. I think I showed this a little bit in the class, or I take a video and I just chop it up in Ableton because I'm fast in Ableton, Command E it, make a song out of it. But then as long as you don't consolidate the audio clip, the video stays with it. And you can't, there's like limitations. You can't like edit it, but you can time align it to the song with a beat grid. Cause I wish like Premiere and all these programs don't have like a BPM grid. They always have time grids, which is like, I don't know how you're supposed to like, unless you're like keyframing, So I don't know how they make movies, but I don't know anything about that. But, if I have like a 150 BPM click, I can just edit every bar to be a different scene or different clip. It's super easy and very fast. Wow. Then I export that. And if I want to do some more stuff, I'll put that in Premiere and like do like the zooms or put it in Resolume and do all those cool effects.
Yeah, I love Resolume, man.
So like all the crazy effects I do is Resolume, exporting those out of Resolume, putting it in Ableton, chopping it to the beat, kind of like a mud pie, kind of like a video mud pie. So if I have like, even I do this all the time with album artwork. I'll put the album artwork in Resolume, fuck it up for like 20 minutes, just like spiral, flash, strobe, like I have this a video clip that's like 20 minutes long, throw that in Ableton, do that like shift command option, whatever, go through it, line it up to a beat or the song, export that, throw it in Premiere. It's like this whole process.
Yeah.
And then I can do like the vertical version, and then I can do like the zooms, and like I can do whatever Premiere can do.
That's really smart.
Yeah. So it's like using all the tools I know how to the best of my ability together versus like sitting down with Premiere and be like, oh, to keyframe, how do I make it kaleidoscope? Like, I don't know how to do that.
Yeah. I mean, Resolume's got some really cool effects. It makes a lot of sense, actually.
Yeah.
Maybe I should do some more of that.
And I was a VJ for a long time, so I get the visual side of it.
Yeah, you said lighting earlier. I didn't know if that meant like video as well.
At first it was lighting because the room only had like, 5 movers and like an overboard like LED like pixel thing. So nothing like visually. Then I like got promoted to the main floor, which was like a full wall I would do. And I would get my own content. I was like a DJ who didn't produce VJ because I didn't make any visual content. I would just like go, because the screen was so low res there. So I could do like GIFs and it would look fine because it was, so I would just go on Giphy and get like every GIF, like SpongeBob or whatever, and like line it up. So in this era of dubstep, like so many like, oh, it's Patrick. And then I would put like Patrick tripping out on the screen, like, and just be fast with it and quick with it. And that was such a fun job.
That's amazing.
But then I took that skill and put it to my branding of like, oh, it's a song about turtles. Go on Giphy, get a bunch of turtle GIFs and make a funny video. And that's all that was. It's just GIFs or GIFs.
Yeah, that's brilliant. Yeah, no, honestly, I'd need to do some more video editing in Ableton because it does, like, you're right. Like, that would be an easy way to sync it up, and then starting with like Resolume to do all the weird effects, import it to Ableton, and then do your finishing touches in Premiere. Do you use like the take lanes to like chop different videos in one track?
Ooh, that'd be good. I don't know how to set. I guess if you just loop it and shorten it, does it turn into take lanes?
Yeah, so you can actually open up command. You have to like have a recording first.
But if you loop that bleep from like 4 to 4.5 and put it on loop mode, does it turn the rest of it into take lanes below it?
So you can right click the audio track and choose insert take lane.
Oh,
and then you just create as many as you want.
I didn't know that.
Or command D it, and then just keep command D'ing. And then you could just pretend this is like a video, and then you can just have multiple videos like this.
Oh, and then do it that way.
And then command B for your pencil tool, and then just do this.
Yeah.
And chop the videos like that.
That's cool. I didn't know you could like create the lanes and then add stuff. I thought you had to like loop and record it. I've done this before for sure, but
I used to think that was the only way, and then I just stumbled on that in accident. I was like, oh, that's sweet.
Oh yeah, that's an incredible way to do it. That's essentially what I'm doing with like that key command, just like more random almost. But if you know where things are, you could like, get it great. I love using that for vocals. And
totally.
In school, I had a project where I had to do drums, and I still have a picture of it, I think, on my phone. but it's like I had to comp drums from like 8 takes.
Yeah.
So it was like the most colorful top layer, but it's like every drum, there's like 8 mics, 12 mics on a drum kit. So like picking the best, but it was all like synced up. I don't know.
It's a lot of mics to mix,
I
man.
I remember being proud of that. I was like, oh, I did it. I comped it. And it's like every color, every like 8, because you just pick the best parts of every take.
Yeah.
It's what I do now with like synths. I'll treat it like an analog synth and just record it and mudpie it essentially.
Yeah, for people who don't know what mud pies are, you maybe want to like say that. Somebody might be like, what's a mud pie?
It's like if you treated any synth or any sound source like an analog synth where you can't edit it once it's made. So like if you just record a whole bunch of stuff and then you pick and choose the best parts using either this method or the scroll through method. But we do vocal pies. We take that like idea of using it with a synth and do it with everything. So like I said earlier with the video, but like we'll do like pre-drop mud pies. So we'll just like everyone go in a separate room with their iPhone and just be like, drop the bass. Yeah, that's what I said. Yeah. Woo. Okay. And you'd have this whole audio file, then you can chop it up, like a little sample pack.
Yeah.
Like it's just a fun way to like get a stream of consciousness, and then
that's cool.
First being like trying to tweak a preset to be perfect when you hit it, and then you're like, oh, okay, now what?
Yeah, right. Yeah, exactly. Got to make it dirty.
I love going through like Rift has a
Rift is so sick.
So imagine, okay, so Rift is just the distortion unit in that current plugin. So imagine Serum, but instead of distortion, it's Rift. Instead of EQ, it's Morph EQ.
Whoa.
Instead of delay, it's like their cluster delay.
This is that minimal audio synth you're talking about.
So they're using all their insanely sick effects as like they're just stock effects in the synth.
What's that called again?
Current.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How much is it? Do you know?
It's free for 30 days now, and then I think 200 after that. And there's also a rent to own.
Only 200.
For what it is, it's nuts.
It sounds like a lot, and you could isolate each module too. It sounds like so you could get a lot just out of one plugin.
I think when you buy it, you actually do get all those effects separately or something, because they actually came out with a subscription model and then got like destroyed on Twitter about it. And I thought it was
minimal audio is like the real MVP. They make Rift and they make a lot of other really solid. What other plugins do they make? They make some crazy sick plugins.
But they have like the that multiband one I bought. Like I bought all their stuff already. Like
use compressor. Separately. That kind of looks like Pro MB.
It's like Pro MB meets OTT. It's sick.
What?
Yeah, but that's the compressor in the synth. Like it's insane.
Wow.
So you obviously get it standalone for $50, but I think there's a way to buy all of it at once.
So that's a good deal then, because they're including a lot of their plugins into. Okay, that's crazy.
Rift is $130. Damn. Not when I bought it.
So you're saying Rift does actually run in current?
Yep, it's like the distortion unit.
Wow, that's a good deal then for $200.
So yeah, I don't know if you get it standalone or if they're working that out, but I love Rift in general because of random presets or like random selectors. So you have like a sine wave, and then you do the recording. You record your stuff, click random 80 times, and then you have like a cool mud pie of like a sine wave.
That's fun.
That's how I made that Jiggler tune. I just made one cool preset and then just put a bunch of different riffs on it over time.
I especially like the Jiggler video you made.
Oh yeah, that's one of my favorite videos.
That's a pretty solid video. Everybody go watch that right now.
It's funny. It's just something I've learned too. Is like, I don't know. As sad as it is, the more effort I put into a video, the worse it does. Like that Jiggler video took like all day. It was like, I'm so proud of it. It's funny, but I got like, several thousand views. Whereas like I took a video the other day on my couch of a new song and I got like almost 1 million.
It's amazing.
People I think relate with just like you being you or just whatever. So that was literally just me when I was making the song being like, I just made a song. It's cool. Versus like this whole produced thing of me being funny. But I love both. I wish both.
Isn't it funny how that works? I feel like that's like that with my music. Like stuff that just like I just end up spewing out within like a day. It's like usually my best track.
Yeah. Level 9 I made in like 2 hours as an intro for a show without I didn't have like the vocal in it, the sample in it. I had something else in it, but I just did it. I played a show for a mountain show here. But yeah, with Mersive.
Mate, somebody's just recording on their phone through the window. That's Drew. Hey, Drew. He owns the studio. I was just see this random iPhone recording us through the window right now. I was really confused. Anyway, sorry, distracted.
Very good.
What were we talking about?
Kush, I think.
We're talking about weed, money,
Kush, money,
drugs, fame.
Something about something.
I don't know. Who really knows?
Just tell us in the comments below what we were talking about, and we'll catch up next time.
We'll get back to you. Yeah, speaking of, actually, you can on Spotify comment on this podcast episode and tell us what you think.
Oh, yeah.
So
you
then
can
we
rate
can
it.
interact with people there. Fun fact of the day, if you didn't know, everybody out there. So if you could only use one synth that is native in Ableton Live, so one of Ableton Live's synths only, what would it be?
Synths? Oh,
Yeah.
probably Wavetable.
Yeah, dude. No, I feel like it doesn't get enough love. Wavetable's amazing.
Yeah, I don't know. It's hard to choose one, but Wavetable just would be like obviously the most like broad if I just had to use one. But I really love Drift that came out.
Yes, dude. That
Drift
would be mine.
plus Rift.
Yes. Perfect marriage.
Dude, I love like the mono thing where you can take all the voices in mono, so it sounds like a fat like analog. So I think
Juicy bass.
they crush that.
You could really distort that thing and overdrive it too. It has thick analog kind of tone to it.
Yeah, I don't know how you make that stuff, but I love it. I know this synth has like a soft clipper, 2 different ones on the output of it or something.
Yeah.
But anything that just sounds good, hot, I love.
Yeah. Anything dirty and nice.
Yeah.
I know I've always encouraged people to like just learn the instrument rather than just buying preset packs.
Yeah.
But there's an amazing Drift preset pack by Sidebrain. Do you know who he is? Yeah, he's an Ableton certified trainer. Yuta Benatar is his name, but he makes like incredible packs and devices and racks and stuff. But he just released like a massive Drift preset pack for like $20, and I would pay $100 for it. It's so good.
Yeah. I always feel like when I got Vital when it first came out, I was like, because it was free with like almost no presets, or like $70 with all the presets. And I was like, well, if it's free before I buy it, I'm going to buy the presets, of course. But I was like, if it's free, I'm going to like make myself learn it before I buy the rest.
Yeah.
So I made my own like 60 or 70 pack
Nice.
samples, and I made an EP out of it, and then I released the pack.
That's
still
cool.
available.
Is it on your website? Where can people download it?
That's on like Gumroad. Yeah, it's on my Gumroad. But yeah, so I think that's super important to learn it. Drift's a little like intimidating because it is simple. It's like, how can I make all these cool sounds with all these things? Or like you work hard on a preset and then you like drag in a real preset and you're like, wow, I did nothing.
It sounds so bad.
Same with this. Like anything I get recently, especially Phase Plant,
Yeah.
I don't know. It's like that's almost like option paralysis, because you open a Phase Plant and you're like, I can do anything forever. I can put a multi-pass and a multi-pass on like a blah, blah, blah. Then you open like Rob Swire's preset, the dial up, and it's just, you press a button and it's a whole dial up sequence to the T. There's one called Chase Scene where it's like all these like sirens, cars, and helicopter sounds all programmed in Phase Plant. I'm like,
amazing.
Dude, I just made it go like whoop, whoop, whoop. And so yeah.
Hey, sometimes that's what people want, is just a nice simple wub.
Oh yeah, 100%. Simpler the better.
Yeah, it's true. Simpler's also cool. We do love Simpler.
Simpler, yeah, it's great.
Yeah, it's great.
I think Sampler would be, if that counts, I guess that is an instrument, because I think that's also just endless.
Yeah.
That and Wavetable. But I don't know. That also relies on a synth to make samples out of. So if you just had one thing, I'd want something generative.
That's true. You can do anything with Sampler, it seems like.
Mm-hmm.
Just get a good sample, throw it in there, or even a bad sample.
My friend does the mud pies. He puts the mud pie in Sampler and then changes the start position. And that's like a great way of getting crazy things.
It's a great idea. Yeah, definitely make that start position jump around. Yeah, Ableton released a really interesting hack the other day on morphing sounds using Sampler. And it's like, you just create like an instrument rack. It's pretty cool.
They do have like the cleanest videos on Instagram. Like,
They do.
It's so satisfying. It's like click, click, and it's so
Like zooms around on the screen.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but like they were basically saying like creating 2 chains, like put an instrument in there, so you like 2 samplers or whatever, using LFO. I thought this was really dope. You could just probably go to their like page and actually watch it, and it'd probably be much better. They go into the chain, and like if people didn't know, you can actually just like drag these chains out all the way and then fade them. And they faded it one to the one way and the other way.
Mm-hmm.
And then they grabbed like an LFO. And so you just have like 2 different sounds. It could be anything. And then you just map this LFO to that chain selector.
Yep.
And it just creates like this really cool, like smooth transition between different sounds that just like it's constantly, that sounds like it's modulating.
That's cool.
I thought that was a really cool hack the other day. I was like, I should do that more.
This chain thing of like really, I've dove into before because you can assign velocity key and of course like a macro like this or whatever.
Yeah.
But like I've done it with hi-hats, so I have a bunch of hi-hats and then I just macro that thing that's moving automatically to like one knob, but I have a bunch of hi-hats that are like, each little thing.
Yeah.
So you go through it or whatever. Have like
Totally.
pretty much a generator of of sound ready to go.
So you put all the hi-hats like in a zone? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, pretty much with zone them.
And then you just make it go back and forth?
Mm-hmm. Or just like, or you could do different keys or different velocities, do different like hats. So if you can, because then that's not for more like playing, but more for like just choosing a hi-hat. You already have your pattern written out, so then you can like just change the velocity and get different sounds really easily.
Yeah. I love that.
Yeah, there's so much you can do. Like that's why I love Ableton, this little stuff here.
Same, dude. It's endless. There's so many things, and it's really fun. And like, I don't know, I like doing this podcast because I can constantly learn from people like you who do crazy, weirder stuff than I do. It's a lot of fun.
Then you can just put that in a rack and put that in a rack and then save that.
Rackception.
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 Rackception, bitch.
That's a sample right there. Somebody sample that.
Yeah, sample 2 of the podcast.
Yeah.
You got the can and rack sample. What
and Tom. Don't forget Tom.
Yeah, Tom again.
There it is. You're kind of on a break right now for playing shows for a little bit, aren't you? Because you were playing a lot of shows. You played Mission. Mm-hmm. I was out of town. I was sad I missed that. I wanted to come. That looked like a great show.
Yeah, it was supposed to be Red Rocks. Then 2 days before, slammed a Mission because like weather implications that was going to happen on that day. So that was like a bittersweet moment because it was sweet as hell. I got to play Mission, and because it got full sound almost, not full, but like really close, full screen, and everyone showed up and packed up early because it was coming from a Red Rock show. So first come, first serve. So I had by the end of my set like a full Mission ballroom.
That's amazing.
And I worked like very hard on that set for like months before because it was supposed to be my Red Rocks debut. It was like a 50-minute set, pretty much all original, blah, blah, blah. And then so I worked hard on that. And then like, oh, you have 10 extra minutes and it's Mission now 2 days before. And I was like,
awesome.
Great.
Let's go.
Yeah, I was like, I'll add more songs and then play it. And then like it was a couple days later. Oh, I had the whole intro. That was like the best part, or the most like the intro was like Joe Swanson voice I do being like,
yeah, it was you talking.
It was like, what is something about, it was a dad joke. Yeah, it was Red Rocks. Oh, it really sounds like I like the color red, like Red Rocks. It was this whole thing.
I watched that.
Yeah, so I made the whole like video to match up, and then they're like, we're switching to Mission Ballroom. I'm like, I really want to play that, but I can't. Like, it just wouldn't make sense, even if it was like just move. So I'm gonna do the cooler thing and make fun of it. And like, so I did the whole like, welcome to Red. Oh wait, this is Mission Ballroom, and that's like in the intro. So then just for that intro, I put out that mix on SoundCloud, and it's been really well received because it is like, I felt like I was releasing an album because of how much unreleased music's in it. It's such a good feeling just to get it out, and especially in a mix form where it's just like all at once, very digestible.
Yeah,
and it's a good representation of like what I'm playing. I've been kind of playing in all my shows since then have been like edits of that because it'll be my first time playing in these cities. Whereas Denver, it's every time I play here, like it's a brand new set pretty much, except for maybe songs people want to hear.
Yeah.
But when I play like, I just announced today I'm playing Indianapolis for the first time in December.
I moved here from Indy.
Oh, nice.
Where are you at? Where are you playing?
The Mousetrap.
Yeah, I've played there so many times.
Yeah,
that's a good
dope.
vibe. It's a total hole in the wall.
Yes.
But it's a good vibe. You'll have a lot of fun.
Dope. I'm stoked. But yeah, I'll take that Mission Ballroom like core structure because I know it's good, and I'll add all the new songs I want to play. Like I've been adding a bunch of new stuff. I just added a whole new like 15 minutes to it for my last show, and just because you get sick, I usually start it with like stuff that's not mine. I just kind of hype myself up and everyone, and then I kind of end it all with mine. But yeah, DJing and those shows are super fun, and it's really cool playing places for the first time because like I've heard the Jiggler a million times. Denver's heard it a million times every time I play it here.
Yeah.
But when I played it for the first time for someone, and like I was only planning to play the first drop of that, but at every stop I played, the energy like in the room blew up, and I was like, oh, gotta play the second drop because like people know that song. You kind of forget that.
Yeah.
They've never heard it live before, or like loud, or however you want to say.
Yeah.
Never heard that loud.
Never heard it loud before. Only listen to music on my iPhone.
Imagine it this loud, but with fire.
Oh, that'd be cool. Yeah, get some pyro cannons.
I did make a song called Fire recently, or I'm actually going to call it, oh yeah, Fire, yeah, yeah. Whoa, Fire, yeah, yeah, yeah. Beavis and Butthead.
A really long title.
Whoa, Fire, yeah, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, Fire, whoa. And yeah.
Have you ever had any, like, with any of your samples getting strikes on, like, YouTube or anything of it, like, flagging it?
YouTube all the time, yeah.
Yeah.
That's why I like YouTube, because they don't care. You just can't monetize it. And I can't even monetize my YouTube, I don't think yet. I think you have to have a certain amount of clout pretty much to get monetized, whether it's like followers or like likes or something.
I don't know. That is a good question.
I think it might be, I just hit 1,000, so maybe it might be able to now. I know TikTok, there's like requirements to get monetized. More risky enough is like Spotify, but also no one cares. I know this artist, I won't out him, I guess, but he has like a whole Drake verse on the second verse of his song that's on Spotify. It's like filtered out, whatever. It's sick.
Yeah.
Like, so I stopped really caring because the worst I can do is like to come after you for that song.
Yeah.
And if the song makes no money, and then I don't know.
Right. If you start making a ton of money on a song, then some lawyer probably is going to start caring about it.
Yep. But then they'll just be like, give me all the money from that song.
Yeah.
And then, but you still have like a career. I don't know.
Right. Yeah. You still
it's like
got the clout from it anyway.
What's his name? Bauer did the Harlem Shake.
Oh,
and
yeah.
They took all the money it made, but he's still like Bauer. So.
Oh, did they really? I didn't know that.
Yeah. Because that sample wasn't clear, but that also is like globally viral, huge.
Yeah, he blew up from that, and now he probably hates playing that song because
money.
I saw him live once. I think it was Electric Forest or wherever that was, and he didn't play it, and everybody was disappointed. I was like, I don't blame him. He's played that a million times.
Yeah, that's definitely like the downfall of trying to be more of like funny or comedic. If something is like non-serious that blows up, which is fine, but it's like, but check out like my real song. That's really
but also,
cool.
I made other tracks.
Yeah, like I sing on this one, and it's like about this. But they're like, play the
no, we don't care.
Yeah, play the one with the Adventure Time sample. So I've kind of just leaned into it more. And like like Adventure Time came after me for the Jiggler from being on Spotify, which movies is usually fine. It's like sampling music that's a little bit more hairy. Because I feel like people listen to the Jiggler and like, oh, I want to watch Adventure Time. It's like mutual.
Yeah.
Whereas music, it's more saw as like taking. But like Harry Potter Puppet Pals is like something, if it made a bunch of money, I'm sure wouldn't fly.
Harry, that's amazing.
I did the little dubstep remix of it. Snape.
Have you ever heard of playphrase.me?
No.
So it's like a movie sampler. Basically, I think it gives you like a certain amount for free, and then you have to pay for it. Oh, it's not opening. There we go. Yeah, it's really interesting. Like you just type in any phrase, any keyword phrase, and then it'll just start playing random like 5 to 10 second movie clips of every movie that's said that. Oh. So you could type right here, just pick anything, something that's might be common.
Say level 9 turtle.
Let's just try level 9. That might be too specific. Let's see what that gives us. Of course, now it's not going to work. Let's just try chicken. So yeah, right here.
Roast chicken? Well, maybe if we was having a roast chicken one night or something.
Roast him like a chicken. So he would have seen what it felt like. In fact, they should...
Yeah, so it just starts playing all these movie clips that have chicken. It just keeps going. And then eventually they want you to pay for it. But yeah, it just shows a bunch of movie clips or whatever of where that phrase has been said. It's crazy. It's got a massive database.
Yeah, so I would take that. I'd route the audio out from my computer into like Black Hole, put it in Ableton, and then you could just use it.
And just take it. Yeah, just use like 3 different browsers so it doesn't remember you coming back.
Exactly.
Yeah, there you go.
A lot of the AI stuff's like that. Like, here it is for free.
Yeah.
And you're like, this is so cool. And then like, now pay.
Just kidding. Give us your money.
I mean, it makes sense though.
Speaking of money, I just Googled, and you need 1,000 subscribers on YouTube to monetize your channel, it looks like.
And 4,000 hours of public watch time within a 12. That's probably the hard part.
Yeah, 4,000 hours of public watch time within a 12-month period.
Yeah.
Or 10 million public YouTube shorts views within a 90-day period. That seems even harder.
I just, Instagram's been telling me like how much time my videos take up. And I had the whole trippy thought of like, I'm taking up people's time. Because I watched a video, because it was like, I posted it like 10 minutes. And I watched this video. Then it gave me this stat that's like, your reel has been viewed for 2 hours. It's been out for like 10 minutes.
Whoa.
So just like, and it was only like 1,000 views, but I was like 1,000, whatever it was, views times 30 seconds divided by, I did the math and I was like, oh, it is like 2 hours. I just took 2 hours out of people's lives in 10 minutes by a video. And I was like, that's a crazy concept.
It is a crazy concept, dude.
And that's like small numbers. Imagine like how much time is Drake taking out, you know?
All the Gen Zers are doom scrolling their lives away.
Yeah.
I mean that in the nicest way possible.
I find myself in there. I'm like, oh.
I mean, I'm guilty of that too. Like totally. I've done that many times. I have to catch myself where I'm just like, what am I doing right now? Like I've been spending an hour just like scrolling through watching puppies on TikTok.
Dude, TikTok got me, and I've had it forever since it first came out. But like there's like moments when it first came out and it was very like, there was no ads, you know, it was like the pure TikTok. It's great. Very algorithmic. I would just sit in my bed for like 3 hours and just be like, this is the best thing I've ever, because everyone thought it was like dancing girls. I'm like, no, it's whatever you watch. And like, it's so good.
What's mostly your videos that the algorithm is feeding you?
I've been not using it as much recently, but it's a lot of DJ stuff, of course. Besides that, it's like comedy, and like cool video edit stuff. video game, because then you're getting more into like Rocket League stuff, like people streaming it.
Oh yeah.
I've accidentally got into the whole non-player character live streams.
Oh yeah.
Super, super weird, because I'm like, it's so weird that I'm like, what's this? So I watch it for a second, and then it gives me more of it. And I'm like,
and you're like,
this
oh
is
no,
so ridiculous that people are like, then there's
I
like,
don't really get it.
I don't get it at all, but people are like acting and like, do you know this guy Hayes, the artist?
Yeah.
He did like a funny video on TikTok about it where he was like mimicking it, and I thought it was like just like some weird joke. And then a friend showed me, I was like, no, he's like making fun of like people who are like making a point of a joke on this. And I was like, oh, that's crazy that people do that. And it made it even funnier, because then I watched some of the real people doing it. I'm like, that's crazy. But hell yeah, get that bag, you know?
yeah, dude. Respect the hustle.
Yeah.
I think you find a good balance though, like, because I think a lot of artists are either like sometimes really good at the promoting, but not that great at the producing and releasing. And then I think you're a good balance of both, where like you do produce a lot of stuff, like your stuff is quality, mix is good. And then you also really are good at promoting it, which can be like half the battle, because you can make the best track in the world. But if you don't do a good job promoting it, like not many people might hear it, you know? And obviously there's word of mouth, like people share stuff. That's great.
Yeah.
But is a less likely chance if you don't promote it well or put it out there. Not as many people are going to hear it.
Yeah, that's what I was just so sick of. I was like, I'll spend like months on a song, and then like I'll put it out and I'll make like a Instagram post like back in the day, like a picture of the artwork, maybe even another post later, and then next song. And I was like, what's the point of like, I don't know where I heard it. Someone was talking about like, if you're going to spend 20 hours on the song, spend 20 hours on the marketing. Because like, why do all that if you're not trying to, like, obviously make music for yourself and all that stuff, but if you're trying to get it out there, then get it out there. And you can be really creative about it. That guy Hayes, I was just mentioning, he's really good at it because he makes funny videos, but in the background of these videos are like his new songs. There's this guy Cyclops who does really, really funny marketing, where like he'll make a whole video game funny series, but in the background the whole time it's his new single playing. And like oh wait, what is that song? Yeah. It's kind of like the end goal and just being funny. Yeah. So now I'm just kind of implementing the both, where like if I do a show trailer, instead of like using a song, I'll just like make a song for the trailer. Yeah. And then it just keeps me creative and going too.
That's a good idea. It's interesting because a lot of times I think people focus on making the entire track first before making any kind of content for it. But if you're doing the opposite, if you're creating content and then making a track for that content, then you've already got an idea that's started to be fleshed out.
And it's popular already if you like put it out and it does well. Like that's all the vibration gun was. That was the first video to do that format for me, because I was doing these silly sampling videos all the time. I was sampling like Xboxes, the Nazi zombie box, and just whatever. And then I was at my parents' house and they had the vibration gun thing. I had that video from TikTok, and I was like, okay, what if I made this funny video about it? And then just it was just for the internet, just for Instagram. All those songs are. One day I'll do an album where it's just like all the 30-second songs and call
That'd be cool.
So you can just like listen to it on SoundCloud or something. But that one was like, everyone's commenting like, when is this coming out? When is this coming out? And I was like, oh shit, I got to make this into like a real song. So I slapped a second drop on it and then put it out. That was the first time that ever happened.
Nice.
And then since then it's kind of like if it's like a full song, like that Here We Go Again, which is like a fully dope 4-minute song, I advertise it a bit, but then a lot of the times it's like I'll make a song for a video, and then if that pops off, I'll finish that out. But then I also have like the real music that I'm grinding on in the background to build the audience. And then once I have the audience, which I'm starting to get, drop like the polished music on them and stuff.
Yeah, that's smart, man. That's a good idea.
I like simplify it as like reel them in with like entertainment and comedy, and then once they're there, like give them actually really cool music.
Yeah, definitely. And it keeps you writing. It keeps you making stuff.
Yeah.
Like, which takes a lot of time, man. It's a lot of work.
Yeah. I love another quote I heard recently is that it takes a lot of time to make a bad song or something like that. It's like, or like, what was it? I think it was like, that was it. It takes so much time to make a bad song. That was it. Cause I've resonated with that hard. Cause I've made terrible songs that just took so much time.
Me too.
Or I've made good songs and like very quickly.
Yeah.
So I'm like, if you're like overthinking it, either like come back to it later. Yeah. Kind of like collab with yourself type, or just,
Yeah, that seems to be like the secret sauce in my experiences and people I've met, is like recognizing when something's a good idea. Mm-hmm. Like that can be really tricky, because if you're in a feedback loop and you're listening to the same 8-bar loop for like forever, it's hard to know what's good or not. But in the moment, if you can make split decisions on like, I like this idea and I can hear the context of where it can go, then like you can work so much faster and get that idea built out into something that you can actually finish. Yeah, some of my favorite producers, I imagine, like, and the people I've like collabed with, like some of my favorite collabs are with people who can hear something and be like, no, but what if we did this instead? Or like in the moment they recognize that's a good idea, or that sucks, let's delete it and do something else. Because otherwise you're just like trying to polish a turd.
Yep, 100%.
Like over and over.
I love that. That's why I love collabing, because then so many times like I'll delete something and they'll be like, or I'm about to delete something and then they'll be like, whoa, what was that? That was sick. Command Z, like something I would never keep, or vice versa.
Yeah.
I'm working on something and like, just get rid of that. You kind of trust each other. Also just having like pressure. So people watching, I love people watching, and like whether they're like interested in the producing or not. Just like people in the room. We always see these like studios that are filled with all these people and everyone's like kind of partying while someone's like making a beat. Like I love that. I'd love to be in that hot seat, because it's like no second guessing, go. Like the other day I was recording a vocalist who's kind of like interested in producing, and I was just starting that right before they got there. I started that flip that just came out. It's like
touch it.
Touch it. Yeah, I was like, oh, I want to flip this so bad. It just came out today.
Oh, sick. I have to listen to that.
Yeah, I started remixing it. He came, did the vocals. I was like, hey, let's take an ear break from this. I got to get this idea out real quick. But he was like watching and very like interested, and I busted out the whole drop in like, I don't know, 20 minutes or so. I was like, okay, here's like the bass line, here's the sounds. This is kind of my process, kind of showing him in the way, kind of getting that like fuel of his excitement and energy in the room, in the studio. Then I was like, oh, cool. I got the idea out. I can polish it up later. And I did once he left. But like, I love that him being there in the room to witness, like, and have and not just me being like, I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. It's like someone's like, I'm on his time for a second. So
that's
time to
good.
go.
That's really good. No, and like now that I think about it, I usually, before I release something, at least have like one or two other people listen to it with me, whether it's like in the car or actually in my studio or somewhere else. Because like I feel like you're more hyper aware when you're listening to something with somebody else in the room that you've made, whether they know you made it or not. You just instantly become more aware of like mistakes in your mix or your track that you didn't realize before, and you're feeding off their energy, so you can like you can feel what they're feeling as they're listening to it a little bit, which 100%. Can be good feedback.
Yeah. So my favorite thing as I got more confident in music, my music of sharing it, is like parties or like get-togethers where there's a Bluetooth. I'm like, give me that Bluetooth, and I'll just play on my music, not tell anyone. And if someone's bobbing their head, dancing, it's so much. It's like a feeling, or you could feel if it's not doing well, or people are like bored, like change the song, because that's happened too. I'm like, well, it's mine, but whatever. Okay, next. But like my old phone, before I got a new one, the saddest part was the my Bluetooth list. It was so big. I was a little Bluetooth slut. I was just like, look how many Bluetooths I got. Amazing. And then I got a new phone, no Bluetooth. Like, I got to start over. So every little gathering I go to now, there's a Bluetooth. I'm like, let me hop on that Bluetooth.
Give me that Bluetooth, bro.
Even if it's just for a song, I got to get that Bluetooth.
Give me that Bluetooth.
But that Bluetooth.
What do you got in the works right now? Like, what are you working on? New projects? Things coming?
Big things soon. No.
Big things coming soon.
Big things. I actually just met that guy who did that funny video at the Gold Rush of LO. I think so funny. He's a funny guy, does good music and great skits.
What's his name?
Avello.
Avello.
I'm pretty sure that's how you say it.
Okay.
Avello. But yeah, I don't know what's coming up. There's big remixes in store, like big official remixes, which I worked hard on and I'm stoked about.
Nice.
They kind of show off more of the musical and like what happens when I put like a whole month or a week into a song versus a couple hours and all that stuff, and the pressure of like who it is and stuff. Like, I gotta make this good. And like the one of them is like a bunch of jazz chords, like really kind of thinking outside the box, because I know it's gonna be like heard by the audience of the artist. So I'm like, I gotta kind of like make it unique and stand out and kind of get the artistry part of it down. Like two different completely drops for both of them, and they're both like vocal driven, so big vocals to play with, versus like my like one-liner sample stuff. So I'm like, okay,
yeah.
And if I like get hard on myself, I'm like, I'm not making real music, I'll like listen to those those like remixes and be like, these are sick. These are like a whole musical experience.
Yeah.
From like that are 4 minutes long. So I'm really stoked on those to come out. The Ember Shore show I'm really stoked on, because I get to go. I've been playing it every year. It's like a Cancun festival, but now I got promoted to the next stage, the beach stage, like the main stage.
That sounds warm and tropical and nice.
It's the best party in the world, dude. 3 days. Imagining a camping festival, but instead of a tent, it's like a 5-star all-inclusive resort.
Sounds better.
It's amazing. The vibes are like the same as a camping festival, but it's like Maybe not the same, but
But
definitely.
you don't
like,
have to sleep in a sweaty hot tent with somebody.
yeah, you're like, I'm gonna
Everybody's
go
comfy.
get unlimited drinks real quick. And
Yeah.
I'm gonna go get some unlimited food. And
That sounds great.
so I love that festival. So shout out Millennium on that, and management for hooking it up.
Great.
And musically, those remixes are probably the biggest thing. I definitely want to get like a body of work together. I think I have like a single on Spicy Boys coming out next month. Some singles with this rapper Rye Vibes. It's more of like his tune that I produced versus like my tune he rapped on. But yeah, I want to put together an EP. I have some like banging songs and I have some really pretty songs. So like kind of like balancing that out. I think it's best to have that on one like work so you can like experience it versus like singles like, oh, this one's like crazy heavy. This one's like not heavy at all. I'd rather it be like in a body of work. So
Yeah, definitely.
I think that next year and eventually some kind of album would be sick, but that comes with time. And
Just go crank out an album in a night.
yeah, dude, I just Gorilla T cranked out his album in like 2 months. I was like, he just got on one, and it happens sometimes.
Yeah. More power to him. That's great.
Yeah, the collab we wrote, he like sent me the first drop, and I loved it. So we did the second when we got together and actually met up for the first time. He was just a vibe. So shout out him.
Love that.
I don't know. How about yourself? You got anything coming up?
Yeah, I just released a collab with my buddy Rince. He just moved here from Indianapolis, actually.
Oh, dope.
Yeah, it's like definitely more vibey, bassy, like dirty stank bass face kind of vibe, but then it turns into this like really beautiful melodic thing.
Okay.
So we just dropped that last week. Yeah, just working on an album actually. One of my buddies, shout out to Tresco. He was voted like #1 bassist in Texas last year, and so he's going to come down. We're going to make like a dirty funk album.
Oh, cool.
So that's in the works right now. That'll be next month. Like funk.
Funk.
Yeah, like F-U-N-K, funky.
Yeah, because there's funk, and I'm always like,
Funk?
Funk is like a genre I don't know.
Yeah, what is funk?
I looked it up on
Sounds
Spotify,
French.
and it's like really distorted beats with like that cowbell, that 808 cowbell. It's
Yeah,
like a
dude,
lead.
I love a good cowbell.
Yeah, that's kind of what I've gathered from it, but I know nothing about that.
Yeah.
Funk.
Definitely need more cowbell samples.
Yeah, especially the 808 one where it's just like ding ding.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like fake sounding, but not.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's just classic.
Love that. Yeah, I looked up actually. I was like, how much does it cost to buy like the Roland like 808? Like
Wait,
how much?
the original?
Yeah, the original. It was like $16,000 on reverb.com.
Damn.
I was actually thinking about buying it until I saw that. And I was like, no.
Yeah, I want to hear it like how it just sounds because I have all the samples from it, just like TR 808.
Yeah.
It's all I think it's like stock in Ableton, right?
It is, yeah, but it's not the actual samples. Like it's like their version of it, basically.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I think I have in my library. I think I have like the samples from some, like Reddit or something. I think they're easily to get, but they do have like sometimes it's like you want to make like these old sounds and just like those like simple kind of like shitty hats that are just like it's like robotic sounding. I'm like that's a vibe. That's like a whole style.
Such
like
a vibe.
That like terrible snare. It's just like
Yeah.
but it's like listen to like the Drake record or any of those like really popular rappers. It's all the same kit.
Dude,
it's
it
like
is.
the classic 808 kit.
808s and 909s all day.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's the shout out to the early 80s.
Yeah.
Don't make them like that anymore. Yeah,
now we have all these synths. We're like, nah, dude, just boom, boom.
give me that shitty 808 sample.
Yeah, clip it.
Just slam it. Yeah, man. Well, dude, I want to respect your time. Like, thanks for hanging out on the podcast. This has been really dope. Anything else you want to say to the people, or any thoughts, questions, concerns?
I do have the collab with Taboo hopefully coming out soon.
Oh, cool. Yeah, man.
We're working through some legal. Wakan wants to put it out, but it's like has like we re-recorded the Cupid Shuffle, not Cupid Shuffle. What's it called? Like One Hop this time.
Oh yeah, the cha-cha slide.
Cha-cha slide. So we called it cha-cha step because it's this idea I've had forever.
That's amazing.
Where it'd be like cha-cha, but like dubsteps, like everybody bang your head. So we did that. I came to him with that idea. I was like, we should do this. And he was like, I'm down.
Yeah.
So whenever that gets like legally fine to release, I guess, through them, I think it's fine because it's like a cover at this point. But maybe they want to clear it so you can make money on it. I don't know.
A good like rhythmy cha-cha.
Then like the weird second drop.
Mm.
Yeah. So that's probably the coolest thing as far as like stuff coming out hopefully soon. Besides those remixes, which I don't know when they're coming out, but we'll see. Oh yeah, Mport's headlining Red Rocks. I'm just gonna put it out there, 2026, dude.
2026. Put it on your calendar.
Yeah. It's be April 20th.
Hey, man, eventually that's going to happen. I'll be there when that happens.
Yes.
In 2.5 years from now, 3 years, whatever today is. Yeah, that sounds wonderful. Sweet, man. Well, dude, thanks for joining the podcast, man. I have to pee so bad, so I'm going to go do that now. And yeah, looking forward to the next Tom the Chicken sample right here. Yeah, anybody listening, feel free to sample that too, and we want royalties.
Solid neck on this guy.
Yeah, he's killing it. He's been around for actually, I got that like a week before I performed live at a show in Indy, and I ran him through a vocoder, and that was people went nuts. Like it just a good vocoder synth with Tom. Yeah, it was pretty epic. If you ever want to borrow him, you're welcome to.
Yeah, please.
Yeah, if you ever need like another ghost producer, Tom.
Oh, Tom. Tom's got me in the lost land. Tom makes my music.
Yeah, secret's out. Secret's out now. All right, cool. Bye, everybody. Thanks for hanging out, man. It's been good to have you on the podcast.
Yes, peace.
Bye-bye. Hey, thanks for listening to the podcast. Do me a huge favor if you would and hit that follow or subscribe button wherever you're listening to the podcast. If you don't hate the podcast, please leave a 5-star review. It would help me out a ton. Don't forget to check back on Tuesdays for new episodes. I plan on cranking out a lot more in the upcoming future. Also, if you didn't know, on Spotify, if you click on an episode on mobile, you can interact there and you can tell me what you think about this episode and other episodes, and it would be great to hear from you and see what you're thinking about the podcast. If you want to be the first to get new episodes and stay updated and get free new devices and sample packs and other stuff that I'll be sending out in the future, join the newsletter. Just go to liveproducersonline.com/newsletter and or check out the links in the show notes. Make sure to give this guest a follow on the socials, give them some love for spending their time. And once again, thanks for listening to the podcast. I will see you next time. Later.